YouTube, what up? It's your boy Datruthyadig, and we at it again with another Madden Ultimate Team video. And today, we have the legends I would like to see in Madden 22 AFC Edition. Now, funny story, I actually recorded this 2 days ago, had it all ready to go, I was feeling good about it, all fired up, went to edit it, no audio. I don't know if it was my mic came unplugged or whatever it may be, but recorded it and went to edit and there was no audio. So, and at that time, as you know, I'm being on Australia, it was late night and I was like, I'm going to bed. I'm not going to try to do this again. So here we are trying to record it again, but Madden 22 has released. Obviously we don't know any legends come yet, so this video could still be relevant. Y'all had great feedback to the NFC, so we're going to get into the AFC today. Some good names, I think, but some surprising names too. I actually got some feedback from some fans from specific AFC teams, and they gave me some names as well, along with my own research. But without further ado, let's get into that. But before I get into that, make sure you tune in tonight, twitch.tv/Datruthyadig. I will be announcing the winner for the Madden giveaway. It's already been selected on the 4 platforms: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. I selected the 4 winners, and I obviously picked one winner from that 4. So look, tune in tonight. You're not going to want to miss that because you want to see if you won that or not. But without further ado, again, let's get into this.
Hey, ain't we been through it all? Then we sleep on them floors. Everybody we thought we needed, we don't need them no more. Run it up, don't check the score. No, I'm balling on niggas. When I was down on my luck, it wasn't no calling on niggas. I made it happen.
Alright, now first and foremost, I'm going to start with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and what we have is Jimmy Smith. Thought about going with Fred Taylor, but last year we got Maurice Jones-Drew, they got James Robinson, but outside of Allen Robinson, there's no real good receiver, I guess, for the Jacksonville theme team, unless DJ Chark shows up or whatnot. But Jimmy Smith, I believe Jacksonville's all-time leader in receptions, touchdowns, receiving every record they have. So I think he'll be a good addition to the game. One of the most underrated receivers of all time who doesn't get his just dessert, and his flowers, you should say. So Jimmy Smith, I think, will be an excellent addition for a legend in Madden 2022. And for the Cincinnati Bengals, another underrated receiver in the early 2000s, Mr. TJ Housie-Mazzilli, Who's Your Mama, Chad Johnson's running mate, Carson Palmer slinging that rock, TJ Housie-Mazzilli. Big receiver, possession receiver. I think at one point he had like less drops and some crazy stat, but yeah, man, I think it would be a great addition to the Bengals theme team. I thought about going with Boomer Esiason, but Joe Burrow just came in the game, so you know, and he's his second year, so and I think he has great promise. So I'm thinking TJ Housie-Mazzilli, whatever you want to call him, will be a good addition for the Bengals as far as legend in Madden 22. And for the Buffalo Bills, the Juice, the original Juice, O.J. Simpson. Now look, I know a lot of y'all may know O.J. for other reasons, but before all that, the dude was a hell of a football player, point blank period. Went to USC, I believe Heisman Trophy winner, Hall of Fame running back, led the league in rushing. I mean, the dude was a bona fide stud, probably one of the first great running backs ever to grace, you know, the field. It's unfortunate, obviously, what happened off the field, which just kind of shadowed his accolades on the field. But, and like I said, I don't know with the rights, I'll keep saying this again, I'm just thinking about names that I think would be cool to be in the game for obvious reasons. But O.J. Simpson, MVP of the league, will be fantastic addition for the Bills theme team, who actually lacks running backs most of the time. Obviously last year got Reggie Bush and stuff like that, but yeah, I think O.J. Simpson will be a cool addition to Madden 22. And for my Denver Broncos, I thought about going O-lineman. We could have went Matt Leptis, Ryan Clady, Gary Zimmerman, even Tom Nalen, which the Broncos desperately need help on the O-line every year in Madden Ultimate Team. But I thought I'd go to a flashback name, Randy Gradishar. Man, he was a monster. He was an absolute monster in the late 70s, early 80s for the Broncos. 17 All-Pro, or 17 Pro Bowl, 2-time All-Pro, as you can see there. Was Defensive Player of the Year too. Shame he's not in the Hall of Fame as of yet. I think he will get in. It's only a matter of time. He's obviously been waiting this long, so. But I think it'll be an excellent addition to the Broncos theme team. Middle linebacker is kind of a weak point for us most years. We have A.J. Johnson, Josie Jewell, but other than that, we're one of the few teams that don't have a high echelon middle linebacker in terms of Madden standards. And obviously, look, linebackers don't animate, I know that, but I think it'll be a cool name to get back in Madden, or to get in Madden, for the Denver Broncos theme team. Now, this man can actually be for either theme team, Cincinnati or Miami, Cleveland or Miami, but I decided to go for the Browns, Paul Warfield. great receiver in the 70s. Absolute great receiver in the 70s and in the late 60s as well. One of the first big-time threats, I guess you can say, in the receiving game, and to open up, I guess, the passing, because obviously passing wasn't prevalent back in those days, but Paul Wolford was able to put up Hall of Fame numbers during that time period, obviously for a reason. So I think he would be a great addition to the Cleveland Browns theme team. Like I said, Dolphins theme teams as well, but Paul Wolford, Cleveland Browns, guarantee people wouldn't be mad at it. And for the San Diego Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers, but when he played for them, they were San Diego, I probably did that wrong, but seen it too much in my life. Sean Lights Out Merriman. Now it'd be cool to have him back in Madden. Obviously, edge rush was always fantastic, but again, this kind of goes with the Jamal Anderson thing I did for the Falcons. Would only be super cool if they had his animation in the game, the lights out animation after he gets a sack or makes a big play. I think that would be cool. But obviously, look, if you watch football in the early 2000s, you knew Sean Merriman. Me as a Broncos fan, I got to know him a little too well, unfortunately. But I think it would be a cool addition into the game. Add another edge rusher to go opposite of Joey Bosa for that Chargers theme team. Now, a lot of you youngins may not know about this man. And for the Chiefs, it's Len Dawson, as you can see on the screen. Now, Len Dawson was the quarterback for their very first championship in 1969. He also happens to be, I believe in Kansas City, was a weatherman or an anchorman for a number of years. I haven't followed him. Subject left there, so I don't know if he's retired or not. But we always get Willie Neer, or if we've gotten Willie Neer in the past, we've gotten Bobby Bell in the past. We always get defensive players from, that era for the Chiefs, but never an offensive player. Obviously, look, the Chiefs are stacked at quarterback. Obviously, you have the cover athlete Mahomes there. They got Alex Smith. They'll get sometimes get Joe Montana, but I think it'll be a cool name, especially for older people like myself who play the game, and obviously historians of the game, to have Len Dawson in the game. It's kind of a nostalgia thing. A person who brought the Chiefs their first championship, and Mahomes who brought them their latest. But I think it'll be cool to have Len Dawson back in the game. Go watch YouTube highlights on him. Again, that's if there even is YouTube highlights on Len Dawson. I thought about that as I went to go into the next person, which is John Mackey. Kind of goes with the dope walk that I did for the NFC. John Mackey is the name for the best tight end in college football, the John Mackey Award. So I think it would be cool for the guy who's the award is named after to be in Madden. Kind of like I said with Dope Walker, for the Lions, I did for the NFC. And obviously, look, John Mackey would be great. 6'2", 220, athletic tight end. Colts usually do lack a good tight end. I think last year the best tight end they had was Mo Alley Cox. So when they don't get Dallas Clark in the game, which isn't every year, they do lack a tight end. I think John Mackey would be a cool name to get back into the game or get in the game for the first time potentially. I'm not entirely sure if he's been before, but you get the point. John Mackey into Madden 22. Now for the Miami Dolphins, I decided to go with Larry Zonka. Powerful back for the 70s, for their undefeated team. 6'2", 240, Hall of Famer. Especially on next gen, he could be a bit of a beast. Not much of a receiving threat, but kind of like Derrick Henry, hard to tackle. And on next gen, obviously weight matters. So that's why I think Larry Zonka could be a valued addition to a Dolphins theme team that if it doesn't get Richie Bush like it did last year, it's lacking in running back. And like I said, it's a cool name. Everyone knows about Larry Zonka. So Larry Zonka into the game for the Miami Dolphins, Madden 22 legend, book it. Now for the New York Jets, one of the most underrated running backs in NFL history, Curtis Martin. 10 years was in the league, man, was one of the premier running backs. He never gets talked about, one of the premier running backs, one of the great running backs of all time. So I think it would be cool to have him back in the game and for him to get that recognition. Obviously people mentioned AP, which rightly deserved, LT Berry, Walter, all the great ones, but Curtis Martin name should definitely be up there, without a shadow of a doubt. If you had a chance to watch him play, especially for that New York Jets team, they weren't necessarily juggernauts during his 10 years of being there, but he made plays, and he put up numbers, as you can see on the screen, 14,000 yards, 4 yards a carry, which isn't bad, 90 TDs, which is great. So I think Curtis Martin would be a cool name, especially for us 80 kids who grew up watching football. Always good for someone to come back into the game that we've watched and seen play. So Curtis Martin for the Jets, that's my pick. Now, if this guy happens to make his way into mud, I think he will be a fan favorite. For the Patriots, Mike Haynes. Physical. Best word to describe him. Lockdown corner. One of the first true lockdown corners in NFL history. ultra physical though, 6'2", 200 pounds, could pressure at the line, could play off, will come down and smack you in the mouth. I think it would be cool. It would be a great change of pace in terms of corners. You know, because we get covered corners, but we usually don't get corners who hit outside of maybe Nitrate Lane. I know last year we got Dante Robinson. Sometimes Jalen Ramsey has high hit power, but Mike Haynes would be an absolute monster to be added to as a legend for the Patriots in Madden 22. Now for the Raiders, the original Snake, not Jake the Snake, which I wouldn't mind for the Broncos team too, by the way. I didn't mention that earlier. I didn't get to mention that earlier, but Ken Stabler, still arguably the greatest quarterback in Raiders history. Is it safe to say so? But the man was a beast. He was a magician with the rock. Absolute great. You know, Pro Bowl, Super Bowl champ, All Pro, MVP, Hall of Fame. The Raiders don't necessarily have a surefire quarterback in Madden. Derek Carr, you may get Rich Gannon, which you got Yasher, Dante Culpepper, but Ken Stabler, I think he would be like a scrambler or improviser archetype. Could pose major problems, especially if you like lefties. It would give him a little decent speed. I think the Snake could be very viable for the Raiders in Madden 22 as a legend. Now, I'll be honest, for the Ravens, it was hard. The Ravens seem to get every legend that they've ever had in the game. Point blank period. So I actually really dig in my bag and find a name that could be suitable. And it's not a sexy name, but Tony Siragusa, the big nose tackle who kept Ray Lewis clean all those years. Ray Lewis said himself wouldn't be able to do the job he was able to do without the big hog mollies up front. So look, I think it would be a cool name. Obviously, Tony went on, I believe, to be a sports analyst for Fox. But look, I think it would be a cool name. And like I said, it was hard for them, you know, because they've gotten their Chris McAllister, you get their Ed Reeds, they get their Ray Lewis. It was difficult. Honestly, they've gotten Jamal Lewis before, you know, Derek Mason, which you consider a Titan or a Raven. So Tony Siragusa, I think it would be a cool name, like I said, especially for those who grew up watching football, watching the Ravens in the early 2000s. Not the sexiest position, but hey, someone got to get a DT. Now, probably the most disrespected winning quarterback in NFL history for the Steelers, Terry Bradshaw. It's not his fault he had one of the greatest defenses ever assembled, right? He did his job and did his job to perfection, which obviously led him to being a 4-time Super Bowl champ. Does he have gaudy numbers like some of the other passers in NFL history? No, not at all. But I think it would be cool to have, you know, the leader of the Steel Curtain. If you want to say the Steel Curtain was the defense, that's fine. I think it's the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it would be cool to have the leader back in the game. Obviously, you get your Ben Roethlisbergers and your Vicks every year, but I think all Steeler fans, and if you disagree with me, I don't know how you could, to have Terry Bradshaw back in the game would be a big W if somehow they some way could make that happen. And for the Houston Texans, who don't have a long history in the NFL, Mario Williams, why not? 6'6", 300 pounds. Probably could play D and can play D tackle in your scheme. I think it would be a great addition to Madden 22. Obviously, he's been in the game previously. We do know that. But I think he would be a good addition back into Madden. Kind of like that Montez Sweat role. Obviously not as fast, but he at that time when he was drafted number 1, there's a reason why he got taken, I believe, over Reggie Bush and Vince Young. Because of his sheer size and athleticism, which wasn't a bad pick. I mean, he gave him almost 100 sacks in his career. And obviously the other two didn't quite pan out like he panned out, but I think Mario Williams would be a fantastic addition back into Madden Ultimate Team. And last but not least, for the Tennessee Titans, Warren Moon. Warren Moon. Bad Moon Rising. Man, if you don't know about Warren Moon, you might want to do some research. This man was electric. Plain and simple. And might not be as electric in the way that you think. It was with his arm. He was absolutely amazing. I think he's one of the only player to be inducted in the Pro Football Hall of Fame and the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. And obviously, look, he was with the Houston Oilers before they were Tennessee Titans. But I still think he would be a fantastic addition if they went that way. And I kind of struggle with Tennessee. I thought about Blaine Bishop, but he's like an undersized safety. Obviously, they've gotten Eddie George. I thought about Frank Wycheck potentially, and then I went with Warren Moon. Well, that's it. Hope you guys did enjoy the video. It's gonna be Man 22 from nothing here on out. So, look, hopefully some of these legends do come in. Let me know down below in the comments what I did right, what I did wrong, what I could fix. What do you think some teams should have got, or who they should get. Obviously, I'm going to miss names. I'm not perfect. Just some of the names that I came up with as I did my research. Once again, tune in tonight. Twitch.tv/Datruthyadig. Have those noties on. I'm going to try to go live probably about 9 Eastern. Maybe a little bit later. I'm not entirely sure. If not, I will obviously post and let people know about that. So I've already chosen the winner, like I said previously, or randomly selected or whatnot out of the 4. So yes, congratulations to them. But find out who tonight. I wanted to do it on the First Man 22 stream. So hope you guys did enjoy. Again, like, subscribe. We did hit 200 subscribers. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Some people, 200 may be a lot, but it's 200 people who decided to hit the subscribe button and believe in me. So I appreciate that at the end of the day. So once again, thank you so much for that. Again, I'm always signing out with a Maha salute. Deuces.
I ain't stopping for nothing. I'm a ball this year. I ain't scared of no one, facing all my fears. I see your boy, he taking off. I'm taking off. I'm taking off, stay clear. I ain't stopping for nothing. I'm a